So Dr. Mike will be with us shortly, and just a few notes. My name is Doug Fisher. I'll be one of the hosts for the event. So welcome everyone on my behalf, and welcome to those of you online. I get to see the pictures online. One note, Sai Maa did talk about the book, so we'll hear more about Sai Maa's book either later tonight or tomorrow, so that is something that is new. And train us any? No. Okay. So, well, why don't we start by hearing in terms of, because Dr. Mike, I mean, I was very impressed. It was like getting 38 years of knowledge in 2 hours, like a download in 2 hours. For me particularly, his dedication to serve. That's the thing that most came across to me. Let's see, there's a lot of stuff I could barely understand, and probably some things I couldn't understand. But the thing about his dedication to serve and his desire to work with Ma in terms of our, as you know, the term Ma's been using, a health span, our ability to live a vital life longer. And Ma spoke earlier today. You may know that there was an advanced teaching programs that was earlier in the week and ended earlier today. And Ma has spoken about how it's for us, living a longer life is likely to happen, but it's important that we have health over the longer life, that we're vital over the longer life, and the importance of being in a body for enlightenment. And so the more we can be vital, the more we can be healthy over the lifespan, the more we can be on the path of enlightenment and ascension. So the vitality of it, and so as both Sai Maa and Dr. Mike said, the importance of that vitality over time and the partnership between the science and the energetic work is a great opportunity. So as a warm-up for the questions for Dr. Mike, in case you didn't know, I'm not going to answer any questions for him. But that said, anything that you took away from listening to Dr. Mike, so we could hear from people online, there's, just so you know, for the people online, you may know this, but down at the bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a little icon that says reactions. And one of those, because there will be points during the weekend where we'll ask you to speak. And if you want to, the way to do that is on the Zoom screen, as I said at the bottom, there's an icon for reactions. And one of those reactions is to raise your hand. So if there's a point where there is questions and answers, or a point where you're invited to speak, what to do is to click on that and raise your hand, and then as we call for people from online, when we call on you when you're online, you raise that, and then we'll call your name, and then we'll set up to unmute you to speak. So this is a chance for those who are online to practice. For those of you in the hall, you can practice raising your hand. But anything you took away from listening to Dr. Mike? I'm good with pauses. Yes, please. Ty. And by the way, and please stand up, Ty. When in the room, just when you do want to speak, please wait until you get the microphone so that the people online can make sure to hear what you have to say.
I just learned that there's a whole world of cells, It's not just the cell, right? Because I think in a lot of the energetic work, I'm just thinking, I have cells, right? And I can talk to my cells and I can interact from the Ma perspective. And I just felt like, he really got into a lot of depth and layers and mastery of it. So that just opened me up to, I can always ask more questions, I can learn more. Like, to me, it just opened me up to a whole world that I know nothing of, and maybe I know 0.5% now, and there's a lot more to learn and there's a lot more available. So I felt like no matter what happens in life, to me, it was like a hope thing. Like, wow, there's this whole world, something could happen, but there's people on the planet who are serving and can support and have that expertise. So that's what was really cool for me. Nothing to be afraid of.
Great,
Okay,
thank you.
thanks.
Thank you. And it was really great what you're sharing, Ty, because I picked up something from you in that, so Ma spoke earlier a little bit about the work with the DNA, and the DNA being light. Ma has spoken about adding light to the cells. And it was great what you were sharing, Ty, because I began to think, oh, there may be, in my practice of adding light to the cells, different frequencies of light for different cells that I could discover. It's wonderful. Thank you. Sonia.
Well, and to add on to that, to what you just said, Ty, I was fascinated in absorbing all this information and thinking, oh my gosh, there's so much more that when I work with my smart body, I can take this knowledge and there's so much more that I can do with my own cells and working with my own cells. So I was frantically taking notes because I was thinking, oh, maybe I can talk to my smart body about this and about that peptide and this. And I mean, it was really exciting, really exciting. So it was very empowering, very empowering. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anyone online would like to share your experience, what you took away from Dr. Mike's talk? And where would I see?
This is Jenny.
Jenny.
Yeah, we can't unmute ourselves, so we have to wait. Well, I thought what you thought about how dedicated he was. And it was all very interesting. And, you know, it's amazing what they can do. And the other thing that really stood out to me was that there's a hospital in Germany, he said, that treats cancer patients and doesn't do any chemo. And, you know, that just says that there's, like he said, they can do a lot. You know, they can really do a lot. And that was really, you know, interesting to me. And also he said something about sleeping at I don't know, like for an hour, it's like 3 hours of sleep. And I thought, well, I definitely want to get one of those. But it was just the fact that they could do so many different things with stem cells and peptides. And it was just really, really fascinating. Thanks.
Thanks, Jenny. Thanks. Yes, how would I say it? The opening up of what's possible beyond what we might have thought possible before. You know, I think for me, I could see my own limited paradigm of how I think about the body and what's possible. There's much more possible than I had thought. Anyone else, what you took away from listening to Dr. Mike? Yes.
Yes, hello. So my deepest gratitude for Ma to bring such amazing knowledge and such a powerful person to us. I'm in the healthcare field, and it's so beautiful to see science and spirituality coming back together again. And when you see that, it's so much easier for us to understand the truth, that is a truth, and just gives me so much more depth to do the practices Ma is giving us.
Wonderful. Thank you, Stephanie. Someone else, what you took away, what opened up for you out of listening to Dr. Mike? Yes. Back here, there was a hand raise your hand who had your hand up.
I've also had a long healthcare career, and I felt that what I really liked and what I've observed in my career is what he said, no one size fits all. And the fact that that the patient is very much empowered and involved in their own healing. And I think the paradigm is really changing in the healthcare system, and it's very hopeful what he talks about, because so many patients don't feel seen or heard, and he takes a lot of time to really get to know his patients and tailor a plan for them with all these options he discussed. And the kindness and the presence and the real empowerment and relationship of both both are healers and both are healees, and it was very inspiring for what I think is the future of how we practice healthcare and in the new paradigm rather than a more passive approach.
Thank you. And what's your name?
Maureen
Maureen,
Dwyer.
thank you, Maureen. Thank you. Yeah, it was really great when you were talking, Maureen, because I connected what you were saying about the one size doesn't fit all. It's unique for each. And what Mom was saying earlier, and I can't remember the exact words, but about it's up to us. And combining those two, and also just a whole new range, it's like I just began to think for myself, oh, again, a lot of the things I may think are limits for me are not. And there's more I can do. It's wonderful. Thank you. Online, Bhakti Ma.
Hello. Yes, I like that he brought up that he said, like cures like. I remember that from days of yore. But so then I jumped to, well, if we are source, if we are divine human beings, then source cures source, our being. So bringing that light into ourselves, that was just cool to just, for me, that happened. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Someone else? Yes, at the back.
I was so impressed with the amount of knowledge that this man has accumulated and the dedication that he has to finding out more and more that he can contribute. I was just so moved. Thank you.
Yes, that was, I agree, the dedication, the commitment, the 38 years of work in the area and continuing discoveries. It's amazing. Hetty.
Hi, Doug. Hi, Doug. So for me, I found it so incredibly moving to realize that when your passion in life, your mission in life is service, and to make this a better world, and to help, as he said, the children of the lesser God, what was so beautiful, then you indeed can work, I think, 16, 70 hours a day. Then sleep is almost unimportant. And I think that example itself, I thought was so amazing, And the other thing, it was a little bit laughable. I mean, I trained as a doctor in the 60s, and today I really have arrived on a different dimension, isn't it? I mean, what has happened in 70 years? My training is virtually obsolete if you compare it with this. That's so exciting.
Yes.
So exciting. So I was moved by his dedication, and it's a role model. I think it needs to be a role model for everybody to make this place to make this world a better place by service.
Yes, thank you, Hetty.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes. Just following on with what Hetty said, just for a moment, just take a breath. A conscious breath. And because as Ma said earlier, how come we're here is we are here for this shift that's happening. And I'll suggest for each of us that kind of dedication that Hetty was talking to and other people have mentioned, that's why we took birth. And there's a resonance that happens when we notice that for ourselves. There's a resonance we can hear with others for the same. And we might not have dedicated 38 years to the things that Dr. Mike has dedicated ourselves to. But we're here for ourselves and for the upliftment of others. And so that vibration, I think, is worth noting for each of us. So just another conscious breath together. Anyone else? Carrie and Mark, online.
Hello, Doug. Hello, everybody. So lovely to be with you. I think what I wanted to say was it's also in line with what's been spoken about, the depth of what Dr. Mike goes into, and one of the key aspects of his work that resonates so deeply with me is the word precision. The precision that his work operates at. And it speaks to me in a way that brings me into alignment to the precision that I can now take into my spiritual practice. It's not a nebulous affair. I'm not just sitting in meditation and, looking at things globally, but really getting specific and getting really, really precise about where I do the work with the cells and how I do the work with the cells, and getting extraordinary results from that precision. I love that precise approach to his work.
Thank you, Mark. Okay, it was just Mark. That wasn't Carrie and Mark. I'm sure we'll hear from Carrie some other time this weekend. Yes, when Mark was saying that, I think so a couple previews of coming attractions for the weekend. So for many of you who've been with Sai Maa for a while know, and for those of you who this is your first time with Sai Maa, over the last several years, and particularly in this last year, Sai Maa has spoken quite a bit about the importance of the body for our spiritual development. And how for our spiritual development, it takes having a vital body. We can't experience enlightenment without a body. And so the work with the body, and as Ma said earlier, actually I don't know if Ma said it earlier this evening or earlier today, but how our DNA is 3 to 5% chemistry, and the remainder, over 90%, is energy, is quantum. And so our work energetically with the body, with the cells in particular, with the DNA, is a critical aspect of our spiritual development. And so we'll be hearing more about that over the course of the weekend, as well as other aspects of consciousness itself. And so there's that combination. We got a very in-depth introduction to that this evening, but just a little bit more about what we'll be hearing more about over the course of the weekend. Someone else, what you heard, what struck you, what you're particularly taking away from Dr. Mike and Sai Maa. Beth, we have Beth online.
Hi. I'm so grateful to be here, and thank you for calling on me. One of the things I was really struck with Dr. Mike was the ease and the clarity that he expressed, the radical responsibility we have to care for ourselves, our bodies, and our brains, and our consciousness, and how that, in effect, is the platform to be able to stand on to serve others.
Thank you, Beth. Sorry, just got some input and I'm integrating that. For a moment, take another breath. And begin to consider your intention for the weekend. We've had a really great evening. One thing also, for those of you who've known Sai Maa for a while know this, and for those of you who are with us for the first time, Sai Maa is working with us nonstop over the course of the weekend, energetically. And so while, as Ma, I've heard Ma say many times, there's the words that come out. And as Lucinda and Triveni Das said earlier, and Lucinda particularly talked, listen with your energetic ears. Having been here for this first session, and having more of a sense of what's happening this weekend. What's your intention for the weekend? What is it you're generating? What is it you're evolving for yourself this weekend? And begin to consider that. Because Ma's here for us. And whatever our intention is, whatever we're generating, Ma will be adding to that. Ma will be adding fuel beyond what we could add ourselves. You know, there's the saying that we take one step toward God, God takes 1,000 steps toward us. So that the more we take a step with our intention, the more we're enabled, empowered, forwarded by Sai Maa. Now, we also have Stephanie Tessier online. Stephanie, please.
So, I was totally amazed and blessed by all of this knowledge that, Dr. Chan was pouring so generously. And, it brought clarity, to my energetic work that I'm already doing with myself. And so that clarity, that it was brought to my consciousness, I really feel that it will bring, probably miracles into our life. And I feel totally blessed, with that addition of knowledge that I was gifted today. And I was totally faced with something, it brought me to my own laziness. And I was totally facing my own laziness. And I'm not sharing that in a way of punishing myself or, or bringing out the victim at all. But it was brought to my consciousness recently, and now it's so clear that I am now ending my relationship with my laziness, and my purpose is not what is Ma's purpose or what is Dr. Chan's purpose, but for my own purpose. My laziness is now, I don't know, I feel grateful.
Wonderful. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. May as well do a few of the end of the night announcements now, so we don't have to do, so when Dr. Mike is done with the questions, we can end. So a few things to note. So one is, for everyone online and for those in the hall, there's the dashboard, which every morning you will get an email with a link for, and that'll have all the information about the program, the schedule for the day. There's additional information. Any products that Sai Maa may talk about will be listed there, as well as there's also one thing you might notice. There's a link for Sai Maa energy sessions, which you may have seen, likely have seen in email announcements beforehand. There's information about that. If you're registered, you would have already received an email about that, and if not, and you're interested in finding out more, that's on the dashboard. And then the next few mornings, one of the things, the program will begin with movement and meditation. And the movement is designed to allow our bodies to move more fluidly, and actually more fluidly as we age as well. And we have a wonderful Miranda Esmond White who's a pioneer in this and has many different awards in terms of what she has developed in movement. And so she'll be guiding us over the next 3 mornings in movement. And then we'll also have meditation. So there may be many people here who've meditated and have a regular meditation practice. And meditation, Ma has spoken often recently about the importance of being in stillness and the importance to allow for us to receive all the energies that are coming in and stillness. And we'll have the Mahamandaleshwar, the brahmachari, will be leading the meditations. And a couple things about the Mahamandaleshwar. Each are distinct. There's a different personality, a different light with each of them. But one of the things that's in common, this is Ma's order of brahmachari, which is the monastic order. And I read once that the life of a brahmachari is a life of seva, a life of selfless service. And so these are people who've dedicated themselves towards serving humanity. And a Mahamandaleshwar is a particular initiation in a 2,700-year lineage. And the Mahamandaleshwar, it was in 2019 where they were initiated as Mahamandaleshwar. And there were 9 initiated at one time. So it was the first time in the 2,700-year lineage that 9 people were initiated as Mahamandaleshwar. And it's also, my understanding is the first time that any non-Indians were initiated as Mahamandaleshwar. So it's a really, and I can say my experience is that the energy that they bring in for meditations is beyond what I normally experience. So wonderful opportunity for that. Also tomorrow morning, it will be doing a training of Sai Maa Diksha. So Sai Maa Diksha is an initiation to light, an initiation of consciousness. And it's a frequency of light. Diksha is a tradition in many spiritual masters over thousands of years, and in the past was largely done between the master and the student, and only very serious students. But Sai Maa saw that it was important in this age that it be more widely available. And so Sai Maa has activated a frequency of energy with which we can be trained and offer Diksha to others. And so if you're first time with us or have not been trained in offering Sai Maa Diksha, we really invite you to do that in the morning. That will be at 8:15? After 8:15. 8. Yeah, so at 8:45. Yes, 8:45, sorry. So meditation is at 7:30, meditation movement is 7:30, 8:45 will be the Diksha training. Then there'll be a break, pause for breakfast or whatever you want to do, and we'll start in the hall at 10, and those are Eastern times. So that's what's happening in the morning. Okay, so Dr. Mike and Sai Maa are on the way. So just take a breath. Just take a moment of stillness. As Lucinda said, listen with your energy ears to the energy that's being downloaded to us.